Let me ask you something. Right now, sitting where you are, do you truly believe that life is happening to you? That your circumstances are the result of luck, a fate, or the actions of other people? If so, I want you to stay with me, because what I am about to share with you will change everything. We're going to begin a journey together. A journey not outward, but inward, not toward some distant goal, but toward the truth of who you already are. I promise you this, by the time we reach the end, you will never see yourself or your world the same way again. Principle 1. The power of consciousness. Pause. Let the silence land. The first thing you must understand, the absolute foundation of everything I will teach you today, is this: consciousness is the only reality. Or what some of you are thinking right now. You are looking around at the walls of this room, at your own hands, at the solid, tangible world surrounding you. And you are thinking, Neville, surely this is real. I can feel it. I can touch it. And to that I say yes. You can feel it. You can touch it. Tell me something. Have you ever been in a dream so vivid, so utterly convincing, that you would have staked your life on its reality? Have you ever? A dream, felt pain or joy, or the warmth of another person's hand only to wake and find it was all constructed entirely within your own mind, is what I am telling you about your waking life. This world you call reality, this solid, immovable, apparently external world is nothing more than a shadow, reflection, a mirror held up to the face of your own consciousness. It does not create you. You create it. Once you truly grasp this, not merely as an intellectual idea, as a living, breathing conviction in your bones, you will understand something extraordinary. Nothing can touch you unless you first allow it into your consciousness. You're not a passive witness to your life. You are its author, its architect, its God. This is where your power begins. And everything I will share with you today is built upon this single, unshakable foundation. So if consciousness shapes reality, then the question becomes how? By what mechanism does the inner become the outer? What law does the invisible become visible? The answer is this: the law of assumption. If you assume a state to be true, if you take it into yourself, air it, inhabit it, and you persist in that assumption, it must, by the very nature of creation, harden into fact. Do you understand what I am saying to you? I'm not speaking about wishful thinking. I am not speaking about hoping or wishing or wanting. I am speaking about assuming. There is a world of difference. When you assume something, you do not long for it from a distance. You step inside it. You live from it. You breathe from within it, as though it were already, irrevocably, yours. And here is where I must warn you. Because this law, like all great laws, does not discriminate. It does not reward the deserving and punish the wicked. It simply reflects. Whatever you assume, with persistence and feeling, the universe will organize itself to confirm. This is why so many people find themselves trapped, not by circumstance, not by others, but by their own unexamined assumptions. They have been, without knowing it, assuming limitation, assuming rejection, assuming that good things happen to other people. The world faithfully, mercilessly has agreed with them. But now that you understand this law, you have a choice. You can consciously, deliberately choose what you assume. You can assume success. You can assume love. You can assume that the life you desire is not a distant dream, but a present, inevitable reality. Assume it, persist in it, and watch what happens. But I must tell you something that separates those who merely understand these principles from those who actually live them. Thought alone is not enough. You can think about your desire all day long. You can write it down, repeat it, recite it, and nothing will move, because the universe does not respond to your thoughts. It responds to your feeling. Feeling is the secret. Think back to a moment in your life when you were completely, overwhelmingly in love. Not the idea of love, the feeling of it. Do you remember how it colored everything? How the most ordinary morning felt luminous, how strangers seemed kinder, how music seemed to speak directly to your soul. That feeling did not just live in your chest, it transformed the entire world around you. It's the power you must harness. When you can genuinely feel the reality of your desire, when you can close your eyes and inhabit the emotion of your wish already fulfilled. Not someday, not eventually, but now you set in motion forces that no circumstance on earth can stop. Feeling is the bridge, is the current that carries your assumption from the realm of imagination into the realm of physical fact. Without it, your assumptions are dry seeds. With it, they become unstoppable. So do not merely think about what you want. Feel what it is like to already have it. Let that feeling flood every cell of your body. It become, in this moment, more real to you than the chair you are sitting in. And how do we generate these feelings? How do we conjure emotions for experiences we have not yet had in the physical world? Through the most powerful faculty you possess, your imagination. Now I know. The world has taught you to distrust your imagination, to treat it as something childish, something to be grown out of. You have been told to deal with reality, to be practical, to accept things as they are. I am here to tell you that everything the world has told you about imagination is wrong. Einstein himself said it. Imagination is more important than knowledge. And Einstein was not a man who spoke carelessly. Your imagination is not a toy. It is not an escape. It is the very workshop of God, and you are its craftsman. Every building that stands on this earth was first a building in someone's imagination. Every invention, every work of art, every life transformed it, began in that invisible interior space where you are free to be anything, do anything, anything. When you imagine yourself as the person you wish to become, you are not fantasizing. You are creating, you are shaping your consciousness. And since consciousness is the only reality, you are in the most literal, most profound sense shaping your world. So use your imagination boldly. Close your eyes and see yourself living the life you desire. Not from the outside, watching yourself like a movie, but from the inside, through your own eyes. The textures and temperatures of that life, make it vivid, make it real. Make it now. Do this with conviction. Do this often and know, absolute certainty, that what you are building in imagination is already building itself in the world. Now, what about the past? What about the memories that haunt you? The failures, the humiliations, the moments you would give anything to take back? What about the experiences that seem to have left permanent marks on who you are? I will tell you something that will astonish you. You can change them, not in the physical record. I am not speaking of documents or photographs or other people's memories. I'm speaking of the only place the past actually lives, your consciousness. And your consciousness, as we have established, is entirely under your authority. The past does not exist as a fixed, immovable thing. It exists as memory. And memory is not a recording. It is a living, breathing, revisable story. When you revise a painful memory, when you close your eyes and run the scene again. But this time, as you would have wished it to unfold, you are not lying to yourself. You're not pretending. You are doing something far more powerful than that. You are changing the emotional content that lives in your consciousness, which is to say, you are changing the seed from which your future grows. That argument that ended in bitterness, revise it. See it resolving in warmth and understanding. Feel the relief of it, the love of it. That moment of failure, revise it. See yourself succeeding. Feel the pride of it. This is your birthright. This is the time machine that lives inside you, available at every moment, waiting for you to use it. For how can the past chain you when you hold in your hands the power to rewrite it? Now, here is where many people stumble. Having grasped these principles, they throw themselves at their desires with tremendous force. They visualize constantly. They affirm endlessly. They grip their dreams so tightly that the desperation itself becomes the loudest signal they are sending to the universe. The universe faithfully reflects that desperation back. This is why you must understand the law of detachment. To manifest your desire, you must release your white knuckled grip on it. You must come to a place of such deep trust, such unshakable inner knowing, that you can relax into the certainty of its arrival. Think of it this way. When you order a meal at a fine restaurant, you do not follow the waiter into the kitchen. You do not pace the floor. You do not demand to know why your food has not yet arrived at the table. You sit, you converse, you enjoy the wine, because you know with effortless and troubled certainty that the meal is coming. Your relationship with your desire must be exactly this. Once you have assumed it, once you have felt it real, once you have planted it in your consciousness, with conviction let it go. Not because you don't care, but because you care so deeply, you trust so completely. You no longer need to clutch at it. This is not indifference. This is mastery. And paradoxically, is in this relaxed state of knowing this elegant detachment that your desire moves most swiftly toward you. But detachment must never be confused with giving up. There's a story I return to again and again, the story of Joshua at the walls of Jericho. For 6 days, Joshua and his army marched around that great walled city. 6 days of trumpets and silence, 6 days of apparent futility, 6 days of a world that showed no sign of yielding. Can you imagine the voices? Whispers of doubt in the ranks. This is foolishness. Nothing is happening. Look at those walls, they are not moving. But Joshua did not stop. On the seventh day, on that final day of unwavering, relentless, faith-filled persistence, the walls came tumbling down. This is the principle of persistence. Not desperate, white-knuckled straining. Not the grim determination of a man who secretly fears he will fail, but the calm, steady, unshakable continuation of a man who knows with every breath that what he has assumed must come to pass. Your circumstances right now are your Jericho walls, are the outpicturing of your past consciousness. They tell you where you have been, not where you are going. Do not be deceived by them. Do not let a morning's bad news, a week's setback, a season's disappointment convince you that your assumption has failed. It has not failed. It is building. It is moving. And if you persist, your walls will fall. After the work comes the rest. Not the rest of exhaustion, not the rest of defeat, but the rest of completion. In the great creation story, after 6 days of divine work, God rested on the seventh day, and not because the work had worn him out, but because the work was finished, perfect, done, and he could look upon it and say, "It is good. This is the Sabbath I am calling you to enter, after you have assumed your desire, after you have felt it real, after you have persisted in your assumption, with calm, unshakable faith. There comes a moment when you must rest. Yes, not rest and wonder, not rest and worry, but rest in the absolute, settled, knowing that your desire is already in consciousness yours. This rest is accompanied by gratitude, not the strained gratitude of someone trying to feel grateful, the spontaneous, overflowing gratitude of someone who has already received. Because in consciousness, in the only reality that matters, you have already received. Enter this Sabbath. Let it be the final seal on your assumption. For from this place of deep, quiet, grateful completion, miracles do not strain to appear, they simply flow. I want to address something that keeps countless people imprisoned in circumstances they despise. The belief that they must wait for the outside to change before the inside can change. When I get the money, I'll feel secure. When I find the relationship, I'll feel loved. When things get better, I'll feel better. This is backwards. Completely, tragically backwards. The law of reversibility states this. If a physical fact can produce a feeling, then that same feeling can produce the physical fact. Read that again. The current flows both ways. Yes, wealth can produce the feeling of abundance, but the feeling of abundance, genuinely assumed and sustained, can produce wealth. Yes, a loving relationship can produce the feeling of being loved, but the feeling of being loved, inhabited fully and faithfully, can produce the relationship. You do not need to wait for the world to give you permission to feel what you wish to feel. You can choose that feeling now. You can step into it now. And that feeling, once chosen and held, becomes the most powerful creative force in your life. Stop waiting for circumstances to change so you can feel better. Feel better now and watch the circumstances have no choice but to change. And now we come to the heart of it all, the principle that contains within it every other principle, the truth upon which this entire magnificent structure rests, the I am. When Moses stood before the burning bush and asked the name of God, the answer was not a name as we understand names. It was not a title, not a biography, not a description. It was two words. I am, that is the name of God. And I am telling you, it is your name too. Not metaphorically, not as a poetic gesture, literally. You are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are an individualized expression of it. When you say I am, you are not merely describing yourself. You are invoking the most powerful creative force that exists. And whatever you attach to those two words becomes your world. I am afraid and fear becomes your constant companion. I am unlucky and misfortune organizes itself around you. I am limited and limitation is precisely what you will find. But equally, I am capable and capability rises to meet every challenge. I am loved and love begins to appear in every corner of your life. I am the operant power in my world and the world bends, shifts, reorganizes itself to confirm exactly that this is not positive thinking. Positive thinking is a surface level game. This is something far deeper. This is aligning yourself consciously, deliberately, completely with the creative intelligence of the universe itself. You have always been doing this, every moment of every day. You have been completing the sentence that begins with I am. The only question is whether you have been doing it consciously or blindly. From this moment forward, choose consciously. My dear friends, we have traveled far together today. We have spoken of consciousness and assumption, of feeling and imagination, of revision and detachment, of persistence and the Sabbath, of reversibility and the ultimate, infinite, inexhaustible power of the I am. These are not theories, they are not abstract philosophies for scholars to debate in quiet rooms. They are tools, practical, powerful, immediately applicable tools for living. I want to be absolutely clear with you about something before you leave this room today. Knowing these principles is not enough. I have met many people who can recite these ideas beautifully, who understand them intellectually with great precision and fluency, and whose lives have not changed 1 inch because they never applied them. Here is what I want you to do. Not tomorrow. Not when the circumstances feel more favorable. Now choose one state you wish to inhabit. Just one. Perhaps it is confidence. Perhaps it is abundance. Perhaps it is the deep, unshakable certainty of being loved. Close your eyes right now if you wish and step inside that state. Feel what it feels like to already be that person. See the world through that person's eyes. Breathe the air of that person's life. Then open your eyes and carry that feeling with you into everything you do for the rest of this day. When doubt comes, and it will come, revise it. The external world contradicts your assumption, and it will persist anyway. When impatience rises, and it will enter the Sabbath. Rest in the knowing. Above all, watch the words that follow I am, because those two words are the most creative, the most consequential, the most godlike words in any language. Are the chisel with which you sculpt your life. Use them deliberately. Use them boldly. Use them with the full understanding of what they are and what they do. Not a small person navigating a large and indifferent world. You are the operant power in your world. You are the author of the story being lived. You are the consciousness in which this entire magnificent, turbulent, extraordinary dream is taking place. Nothing can affect you without your consent, because nothing reaches you before it passes through the filter of your own consciousness. And your consciousness is entirely, completely, irrevocably yours. This is your freedom. This is your power. This is your inheritance. Go now and claim it, and may your consciousness expand to embrace everything you have ever dared to desire. You are, and always have been, the Am. This is Neville Lectures. I'll see you again in the next video.